And Neil is here now to tell us why it all starts with a voice. Good morning, Neil.
Good morning.
I mean, you know, you couldn't have two different accents on today.
Yeah,
we've got Craig's Irish, we've got
It's
Mike
lovely.
Bristolian.
Yeah, no, it's great.
They're both real.
I know. You're not putting them on.
I mean, they're all thanking you at their awards ceremonies. How did you get into the industry?
I trained as an actor. First of all, yeah, sorry, I'm just getting over the lurgy. I trained as an actor. I went to drama school, and then I went to the Central School and did the voice teaching course. And actually, whilst I was at drama school, my head of voice said to me, I think you're interested in voice. I think that's something you should think about. And when she said it to me, I thought, are you just trying to say that I won't have a career as an actor? Is that what you're steering me in another direction? And actually, after a few years of acting, I realised she was right. Actually, that was something that I wanted to do, And so I trained as a voice teacher, worked in the theatre, worked at the Royal Shakespeare Company, and then went into the West End and did lots of lovely plays. I worked at the National.
So how did you make the transition from theatre, then, to film sets?
A friend of mine was working on a film, Mel Churcher, and she had to leave the film early. And she said to me, look, I know that you're interested in coming into film and you want to work in film and television. Do you want to come on board and finish off the film? And it was great because she talked me into it. She told me about the etiquette of a film set and how it all worked and where to go for lunch, very important, where to get your sides and so that was my first job. And then I got into doing other TV via that. I did Rome for HBO. That was a big job as well. So
the names are Helen Bonham Carter, Mark Ruffalo, Daniel Craig, Keira Knightley, Hugh Jackman, Saoirse Ronan, Judi Dench. Of course, we saw, what you did, this year as well. Incredible actors, and we presume they can just do these things off the cuff, but they all need help when they're trying these accents, do they?
Yeah. I mean, some come into it with more preparation than others, I think, and some have more of an aptitude for it than others. But they all work hard. They want to do a good job. They want to serve the accent, and I think feel a sense of responsibility for it as well,
Particularly when you're telling big stories. I think of The King's Speech, because you worked with Colin Firth.
I did, yeah.
And you helped him with his stutter in that movie.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a very different side of it. But he absolutely nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, for me, that was interesting because I'm not a speech therapist. That's not my background. So, again, I had help from a friend and colleague, Annie Morrison, who is a speech therapist. She came in, helped me. The British Stammering Association helped as well and gave a lot of advice. And unfortunately, we're very lucky. We still have a lot of those old Pathé newsreels that we could listen to and watch. And it's not just the realisation in terms of speech with a stammer. It's also, there's a great deal of physicality that comes with it as well. So it was useful to watch Bertie and to see how that manifested itself in his body as well as his speech. And so that was great to work on.
We've got a little clip. I'd like to see it, actually, to remind us.
Yeah, OK, I would.
How does it feel watching that, knowing that you were responsible?
Yeah, amazing. I mean, I'm very proud of the film. And it was a great job to do. It was wonderful. And for me, as somebody that works with voice, in a way, it was a project that had at the very centre of it the idea of a voice and a person who didn't have a voice. I mean, physically, emotionally, psychologically, Bertie couldn't find his voice. And through that work that he did with Logue, he found a voice at a time when the nation needed it during the war and needed to hear from him.
Where do you start? When someone comes into you and they go, I need to be Australian, Irish, Bristolian, whatever, where do you start?
I think for me, it always feels like I'm starting from the very beginning, even if it's an accent that I know very well, even if it's an actor with whom I've worked a lot, because the challenges are always different. The characters are different, the script is different. And so for me, I always have like a framework, a blueprint of sounds. And then within that blueprint of sounds, there's lots of possibilities. There are lots of choices, lots of subtlety.
Your geography must be amazing.
My geography?
Yeah.
No, it's terrible.
Oh.
No, it's not good at all. But, yeah, and then it's that area, it's that sort of territory that I find most interesting, that creative side about, you know, as I'm sure you know, in Bristol there are lots of different subtleties. There are lots of different... In Dublin there are enormous.
Yeah.
And no accent sounds exactly the same. You know, if we think about people that we grew up with, I think about people that I was at school with. I grew up in Norfolk. And so, you know, my accent is a bit like that, boy. You know, I know, not exactly. I know, it's interesting, isn't it? That so, you know, my grandfather used to say, "All right, boy, how are you getting on, boy? Nice to see you, boy." And everything was beautiful. And when the coffee shops was first popular, you know, I remember hearing people say, "I think I'll have a cappuccino." You know.
I still say it like that.
Roy's a rocks and a beautiful.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And so, yes, if I think about the people that I went to school with, you know, we didn't all sound the same, even though we had the same, you know, similar upbringing, went to the same schools. You know, we all had different... There are always different subtleties, different pronunciations, different flavour, and that's what interests me in accents.
Is it possible now? Everyone watching at home would love to try something. Is there something quickly you can teach us and the folks at home, an accent we can try to get us through the rest of the morning?
Well, we were listening to the word water, and you were thinking about water. Yeah, water. And water, exactly. So if we think about what I'm doing when I say that word, you know, what's happening is that if you watch my lips really round and find that or vowel.
I hope you're doing this at home.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So if you think about finding the rounding, the movement of the lips, war, and they're doing it behind the camera, I can see. Really finding the lips to really shape that sound. It pulls that or vowel into shape. War. War. And then we're really finding a strong T, the water.
Water.
And unlike your accents, I don't have the R at the end of that vowel. So, so I just come off of it, water.
Oh, Neil, I'm actually
that was very quick, wasn't it? That was like accent 101 in 1 minute.
I'm actually speaking proper.
So if we base our whole accent for the rest of the show on water...
you'll be fine.
I think I'm going to...
Very good.
I think lots of people have
turned off. I'm going to stay
off,
with that, Neil. Thank you so much for your time
you.
today.
You're very
it's been really good.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure.
Thanks, mate. Right now...